Hi, you guys. So I have a verse, Proverbs chapter 3, verse 5 through 6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding, in all your ways and acknowledge him, and he shall direct your path. Um so I've known this verse and I probably have used it before, but it's a constant reminder to me to do exactly that, to lean on God's understanding and not that of my own. Because those of you that are victims of gang stalking, because we are victims, I am okay with saying I'm a victim of gang stalking because I know when it's all over, I will be a survivor of gang stalking. And those that didn't believe will believe in my God because one thing I hold confidently and I will say is, and I would like you to remind yourself of this every single time you overcome an obstacle, every time you overcome a strategy that they try to throw at you, that God did not help you get out of that pit of hell for you not to survive the next one or the next one. And each time that you maneuver your way through these false illusions, these lies, these corruption of evil, wicked deeds, know that God did not get you out of the last situation you were in for no reason. And each time you move forward, and each time you face your fears, and each time you stand up to your gang stalkers, to the people that are harassing you, trying to intimidate you, bullying you, that you only become braver, you only become stronger, you only become mentally more prepared for whatever it is that they're trying to throw at you. Um, and leave it to God. Let let your heart, your mind, your body, and your soul know with everything in you that God will not let your enemies attack you. You have to just truly believe with all your heart that God will stop your enemies and He will do exactly that. I can't even explain to you guys how many times it would have been so easy for me to retaliate back. And some people may say, well, you are retaliating, you're talking, but I can talk because this is my truth. And if you don't like what I say, then don't make these truths in my life for them to be said. I can say whatever I want because it's my truth. If they don't like it, oh well, let it be. Let them do whatever they feel like they need to do, and I can assure you, when you leave it all to God, no weapon formed against you will prosper because God is your armor. He is around you. He knows that you're placing all your power, or not power, all your faith, all your endurance, all your everything into Him, and He's not going to forsaken you. I can tell you that, like, with 100% clarity, that when you seek God, and especially during these tiring times and hardships of our lives, that God is not going to forsaken us. And we didn't come out of one thing to be entered into another to fail. No, God is the God who sees all. And nothing that these enemies do will go unseen because He's God. And I always tell myself, no one has to believe me. No one has to, trust my word. But what they will trust is God's revealing And I'm 100% with 100% clarity that God will reveal who I truly am and who you truly are, and the lies of the demonic, evil, wicked doers of the world. And pray for them. Pray that God releases whatever demonic spirit is holding their vessel hostage. Pray for them. And lately I have been praying a lot, like, about God, not only because I used to always say, like, oh, I hope God has mercy on your soul. Well, I have to tell myself too, I hope God has mercy on my soul, because sometimes the things that I do are kind of dangerous, like the other day when I told you guys, um here come 6 cars, 5 to 6 cars, like if they're going to a funeral, coming through. Well, I do hear God, like, go ahead, go, because He already knows my mind and He already knows. But I was so angry and so mad in that moment that I said, God, I'm going. And I could hear, Him, go ahead and go, because He knows my mind. But in that moment I was so angry and so mad, and I'm thinking, like, if y'all are going to do something, then do something. What? Because I just get so upset and so frustrated with the entire situation. And I realize when I reflect back, like, that was so dumb, Ash. Like, you need to be more, um you know I guess, because I wouldn't even call it not being humble, because I'm extremely humble, just more calming and more, not allowing these people to get to us to where we would make irrational decisions, because I don't know if any of them people have weapons. I don't know if any of them would literally grab me and pull me into a car. I don't know. But there's times where I just get so frustrated and so mad that I'm going to react. And before I do react, I always, tell God, like, God, I got to do it. Or God, like, running everything through my mind, my, subconscious mind with God, God, I'm going to get out. Like, I'm done. I don't want to do this. I don't want to. And I can tell you now, anytime I'm having a bad day, anytime I feel like it's going to be so overwhelming and so, um, liberating at the same time, I have to talk to God, because I don't know how I'm going to react in those moments. And when I say liberating, I mean by, like, when and something's eating you up, it feels like it's eating you up alive. Like, I know for a fact this person and this person's involved. I know. And then when I see it, and I'm like, I knew it. And in that moment, I do feel liberated. I do feel like I knew it. And God, like, thank you. Thank you for that clarity. Thank you for, showing me. So I'm going to tell y'all. So there's been times where, this is when I lived on the west side of Lubbock. And I will not live, will live. Yeah, I was staying in a hotel on the west side of Lubbock. And I would always hold up, like, these posters that would say, like, God loves you. And I made one that said, God's children were not born with price tags, no justice, no peace. Like, and I would hold these boards up, like, on the corner. Well, the first day that I held up the God's children were not born with price tags, I can tell you, no grown person will be angry by that poster board if they weren't the ones harming the children. Hello? Give yourself away, why don't you? Like, be upset and be mad. I don't care. I'm speaking my truth of what I feel like. Anyway, that day I remember thinking, like, oh, today's going to be a rough day. Um, I had cars mean mugging me. I had, you know, just a whole the more gang stalkers than usual. And these gang stalkers, I guess, because I'm calling them out, they're starting to be like, well, F you too, and, like, want to show their face to me. Okay, show your face, because I'm going to clock it every time. And when I clock it, I'm not clocking it for me, I'm clocking it for God. Because when I ask God for prayers, when I come to God and I say, God, please, I say my enemies, but I make it clear who I believe my enemies are. I make it clear on where my enemies live, what car my enemies were driving. So even though I know God's the God who sees it all, I just want him to know, like, I see it too. And thank you for the discernment. Thank you for hearing me. Thank you for stopping it. Thank you for just so it gives me as a human being, because sometimes we fail in our faith, sometimes we fail in our belief. And it gives me more clarity that all my faith that I have, and all the belief I have, and all the love that I have, that I'm giving to something I've never seen, but I can feel and I know God's there, is only clear confirmation that God is real. God exists. God is God. He's our creator. He's everything, like, so do that. Ask God and ask him in very great detail of what you want and who you believe, and to give you clear discernment on all of it. When I first started thinking, like, I wasn't 100% sure. Yes, I thought my mother was sleeping with my honey trap. And I confronted both of them on it. They both denied it, whatever. So after my dad had passed away, I started getting a whole lot more downloads of, this is what's really happening, this is what's happened, this, and that. And I started also getting downloads from, I would say, my brother in law, who was coming to me and, like, telling me certain things. And I could hear that it was my brother in law's voice. And I asked God one day, like, God, if what he's saying is true, reveal it to me, show it to me, tell me. So my mother is involved. And one day I'm out here on the interstate, and I don't have a poster board this day. I just am out there, and I'm preaching, or not preaching, but I guess it's preaching. I don't know what you guys want to call it. It's me just stating facts. I feel like that I've read in the Bible, and facts of my life and what's going on and what's happening. Well, I remember, like, I'm over there and I'm like, just upset and mad. And, like, this is one of the first, not the first, but like maybe, a handful of times already I have been out there holding poster boards. I've been out there hollering, and people probably think I'm crazy, which I don't care. Because I know that my phones are hacked. I know my tablets are hacked. I know any electronics that I use are hacked, and I know that they can hear me, and I know that they're watching me. So I'll go out there and I'll, start my rant and start preaching or saying things out of the Bible and relating it to what I'm going through in my life, and even them. Well, one day I'm out there, and this day I was upset, like I usually am, and I'm just like telling God, like, well, I was more upset because I had got this thing where I could hear God saying, like, make it clear that they're hurting their children, you know? And at this point, my children have already been taken from me through CPS, which they should have never been. My children should have never been taken out of my custody. But they were, because, they're all corrupt. They all work together. Your gang stalkers work in your postal offices, in your courthouse, in your CPS offices, in your grocery stores, in your retail stores, in your life, or insurance places. They're everywhere. There's not a place that they probably don't have someone at, honestly. So anyway, I'm out there and I'm venting and I'm hollering and I'm like, if God says in the Bible, y'all know better. He shouldn't be feeding y'all like y'all are babies. He's not going to come and feed y'all baby food, and, like, y'all are hurting y'all's children. It doesn't just affect y'all. Y'all's selfish ways do not just affect y'all. It affects y'all's children. It affects y'all's grandchildren. It affects every generation after them. Like, hello, wake up, people. Well, when I'm saying all that, I turn around and here comes my mom's car. And mind you, this is like maybe a month after my dad had passed away. And before that point, I wasn't posting, or even, I wasn't making posts on Facebook. I wasn't doing any I wasn't making posts on Facebook or YouTube or anything at this point about my mother. Um but she passed by me. We looked at each other eye to eye, and she kept driving. Hello, that gives it away right there. Like, you are guilty as F. Like, for you to like see your daughter who you know just lost her father, who's taking it extremely hard, and to not pull the car over and be like, "Hey baby, are you okay? Why are you out here? What's going on?" No, she completely passed me. And that right there gave me clear discernment on everything that I needed. When you ask God and you call out names and you say, "God, I believe so and so's involved. Show me." Or if I'm falsely accusing, forgive me, and allow them to forgive me. Allow them to understand why I was doing that, and you know, allow us to soften our hearts toward each other. And I will be the bigger person to apologize. I always tell God that. So when I seen that, I was like, okay, well, the reason I was telling y'all I lived on the west side of town is because there's this night. So after I make this new one, the next day I went out there and I was like holding up one that was talking about like, um, you know, God says in the Bible, money is the root of all evil. Being greedy, that's the root of all evil. You know what I mean? So I had this poster board hanging out there. Well, that day when Travis, or my honey trap, gets home, we get into a huge argument. Why he came home in a bad mood, I don't know. All I can assume is that someone told him, "Oh, she made this new poster board and this is what it says," and probably getting onto him because they hired him for something, whether that's to make my life miserable, if that's to take from me, if that's to, I don't know, be my hitman, who knows what it is. But he came home mad, so we end up arguing. And then I know anytime something's said to him, rather, because he says he doesn't watch my videos, okay, so whatever. But I know he's being told what's being said on them. And anytime that happens, we get into a huge argument, huge fight, and he leaves. Okay, fine. Which before, you guys, I used to chase and beg and cry, and now I'm like, really, you're gonna leave? All right, really, you're gonna leave? And if he leaves, he leaves. I don't cry. I don't even shed a tear anymore because what? Why? They're gonna do what they want to do. Don't let them have that much power or control over you, over your emotions. Try to do your best to block out that, and just block that out. Like, okay, I know for me, I'm here because I have nowhere else to go. And me and him argued, and I've told him that if I could leave, I would leave. I have nowhere else to go. I can't go to the Lubbock shelter here, Grace Camp, because I was staying there before. And somehow all those people got involved. And I know they did because slowly but surely their attitudes started changing towards me. The way they were reacting towards me, the looks that they were giving me, them being standoffish for no reason at all. But so I already knew, like, things are being told to them, so I know for sure I can't go back there, so I feel like I have nowhere to go. So I'll tell him that, yeah, if I could leave, I would leave. I have nowhere to go. But we get into these big arguments anyway. He leaves, like I said, whatever. So the day that he leaves, I do have to preoccupy my mind, because if not, I will drive myself crazy. I will, you know what I mean, have all these scenarios running in my head, trying to figure out what's going on, trying to be my own investigator. And then I would start assuming, you know what I mean? So anyway, I'm outside and I'm like, okay, God, I'm going to pray and sing over the city of Lubbock. So I'll go outside and I'll start singing songs and, praying and stuff. Well, as I'm doing that, oh, gang stalk galore. All of Lubbock, majority of Lubbock, okay, sorry for those that are not involved. Truly, I'm sorry. Are just back and forth on the loop. And mind you, it's like a Wednesday night, 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. Why are y'all all out here doing all this when I know Lubbock? I've lived here majority of my life, and It's never busy like this on a Wednesday night at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. It might not have been that late, honestly. It might have been like 11 or 12, but I was out there a while. And I see James, the guy I used to date, and this dude has the audacity. He passed by in the trailer that we had together for our business, filled with appliances, and his truck right by me. Okay, maybe 5 minutes later, I see Jeremy, my ex husband, in a different vehicle pass right by me. Okay, like a few minutes later, I see a pickup truck, and at this time, me and Travis didn't have a vehicle, and I'm pretty sure it was Travis in that pickup truck. But, so what I'm trying to tell you is also be very, yeah, just be aware of who, because, these people also trade off cars. They trade off cars. They try to play mind tricks with your head. Don't let them. But also try your best to just stay grounded and know that everything's working out in your favor, and God's not going to allow you to go through one obstacle for you to not make it out of the next, because these people will not stop. They're relentless, and they're going to keep coming and keep coming and keep coming until God has to humble them, until God interferes and knocks them right off their feet, because that's exactly what God's going to do. I can guarantee you that. And then when that happens, you're going to be at fault. They're going to say you're the reason, not their actions, not what they were doing, not the taunting, not the, smear campaigns, not the stalking, not the harassing. No, you're the fault, not them. Because that's how these people think. But let them, and let it go and let God. Because one thing I guess they haven't figured it out. And I'll keep shouting it. My God, our God, will never, ever be fired. And he can oh, well, no, our God can't be fired because he's our creator. Our God cannot be fired, and he will never, ever retire. So they will have to deal with whatever consequences our God decides he wants to place on them. And I can guarantee you it's going to be a lot more than what me or you can come up with. So let it go and let God, and try your best to work through God's understanding and not that of our own. Because I understand firsthand how hard it can be to do exactly that. And pray that God sends righteous people into your life that are here on earth, that can help you, that will help you. And just trust and believe that that's what's going to happen, because you gave it to God, and God is not going to let your enemies stand in your way. Nope. One day, those obstacles that they're throwing at us, those hurdles, those blockages that they want to keep throwing at us, they will trip over one day. And when that day comes, I'll be there to say, I told you my God was real, and walk away. Well, I hope that's the way I react when the day comes, that I get clear discernment on everything, because I know that day's coming. And I know everything I've been through is a lot worse than what I can even think of in my head. I know it is. But when that day comes, I'm just going to smile and say, I told you so. And that 1%, I'll stand by all day, every day. I'll stand by it for the rest of my life, because that 1% is the most important in my life, and that's my God. That being said, you guys have a good night.